Hello everyone, wherever you're watching this video from. I'm so happy to be able to come back and just say hello to you and how you're doing. My name is King Nero 9622 on YouTube, and I'd just like to tell you that it is such a beautiful day. We're thankful for life. We're thankful for where we are in life. We will not be exactly where we want to be, but the truth of the matter is, once there is life, there really is hope. And there is a verse that says, hope maketh not ashamed, because God's love is shed abroad in our hearts by His Spirit who is given unto us. You know, the thing is, let us find a reason to be happy about where we're at, to rejoice, and to look forward, to keep pressing forward, looking for bigger and better things ahead. You know, I have been lately talking about the fact that we need to walk in forgiveness. And I do not stand here as an authority on that subject or any such, but I stand here as a person who have gone through life and have experienced difficulties and reason to have unforgiveness in my heart, and reason for not really letting things go. You know, in my last video on the topic, I did mention that that Jesus was talking to a few guys who he called his disciples, and then there's a crowd of people who always found themselves following him for a good reason. And in Matthew, he gives a few highlights regarding how to deal with a fault, how to deal with a problematic situation. Well, first off, he says, go to the person and have a conversation with them. And if they hear you, then you've been reconciled to your brother. So the first step is one-on-one, not in a confrontational manner, but you're going and you're asking for a few moments of their time to deal with this matter. If when you express yourself and they receive it, then at that point you've gained a brother or a sister. Now that is key. The person must first acknowledge that they did something wrong to you, admit it, and then you can be reconciled. Now, there is another aspect about unforgiveness or forgiveness where you have wronged someone. That is the flip side of this coin. And you know to yourself that whatever you did to this person has hurt them. They have something that they want to talk to you but don't probably know how to. And now it becomes your responsibility as a good citizen, of the earth, to go to that person and say, I believe that I've wronged you, or I know that I've wronged you, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for hurting you. I'm sorry for letting you down. I'm sorry for acting the way I did. And once you do that, you're going to break down the walls that may exist. And now you're going to be open to a dialogue. That is important. Dialogue. So the first step is having a dialogue. Now remember, most of the people who have done people wrong do not go back and say, I've done you wrong. Because people, for some reason or the other, have this feeling that when you go and you say, I'm sorry, that it makes you kind of a weak person. But really, it makes you a strong person. It makes you somebody who is willing to admit their fault and seek reconciliation. Now, it's fair enough that it's difficult, but it is also necessary. It's not good to be walking around with grudges and you go in places where you're seeing folk and y'all can get along and you know that you can do better than that. I've had to deal with such situations, and I've had to be reconciled. And I tell you what, the burden that comes off of your shoulder is really better than carrying that burden. Squeeze worth the juice. And in this case, the squeeze is always worth the juice. Hello. Why? Because it brings you that joy of enjoying that figurative juice, having squeezed it, rather than watching at maybe the orange and saying, that orange looks good. But it is as good as you change it from whatever form it is to juice. It becomes better. Relationships become better when we deal with them. Of course, there are those of us who don't like to confront the situations, but confrontation sometimes is absolutely necessary. It is part of dealing with the situation and bringing a resolve to it. So I don't want to confuse myself with this and with that, and I don't want to get involved with things. Just leave them, let them go, and then let me go, and then in time the wounds are going to be healed. Well, that is one of the biggest myths. Time does not heal all wounds, and there are a variety of kinds of wounds. You know, I'm going to open up a little bit with you, but I lost my dad when I was 8 years old. And my dad was a really good man. He took care of the family, my mother, my siblings. We had our own property. We were living the dream. And then my dad died. Dad is a very young man. And when my father died, I became hurt. Why was I hurt? Let me show you these guys. Why was I hurt? I was hurt because everyone around me still have their dad, but where is my dad? He died young, and it was not of his doing. He became ill and he died. And so I didn't realize it until later on in life that what I was actually doing is asking questions that only God can answer. And I couldn't actually blame anyone because he died. But the hurt of growing up without your father, playing sports, and your dad not on the sideline cheering you on, taking you to the games, bringing you back. And there's so many things. So I started to develop something on the inside. I started to feel like, well, life is going to be more difficult. And I tell you, life was kind of a little difficult before it got better. It was my mom alone. She took care of us. It was 6 of us. Wow, it was 6 children. Woman in her early 30s. Having to fend for them. So these questions, as I grew older, multiplied. And then one day I was having a conversation with an older gentleman, a professor of history at our university. And he started talking to me about life and about the fact that, you know, you lost your dad at that age, but I can help you. I can become a mentor to you. I can provide some of the things that you are lacking in your life because your father is not there. And as we continue this mentorship, as it were, which took some years, on and off, he became like a spiritual father to me. I remember going to his house and having dinners with his family and so on, and just helping around the yard. His children were much younger. Now they're all grown. One is a doctor, one is a lawyer, and the other one is a university grad that is doing all kinds of great things. But you know, I helped around, and I kind of try to make the best of the time of counseling. Well, I should hasten to tell you that over a period of time, I realized that the questions that I had were all answered, and what I thought was my problem wasn't really my problem. I was too young to be able to reconcile the fact of a loss in my life, being so young, and the fact that different ones of us have different history. But there was something there that had to be released. It was like I had a knot tied on the inside of me. And over that period of time, that knot was released. And I'm a different person. And now at this stage of my life, I have become a mentor myself. I have been discipled, and now, having been discipled, I can also disciple others. You know, there are a few people who look up to me, a whole lot. I'm talking youths now. And I try my best to be a good mentor to them. But I let them understand that as a mentee, you have a responsibility for your own emotional well-being. And the way you process things are very important. I go back to the point that I was making. That the number one thing that you have to do is go to someone and talk to them. Let them know that, look, you've wronged me. Can we be reconciled? Let's talk about this. So it is you have wronged someone or someone has wronged you. Both of you have an equal responsibility to each other to clarify, clear the air, and move on. Well, the second step is you go to that person, and that person does not want to have a conversation. They refuse to speak with you. Well, the principle is to get a second person and let them go with you and see if both of you can convince that person to be reconciled. And if that person said they don't want to actually have no dealing with you, and you have a wider body, for instance, Jesus was talking about the church, and he said, if that person does not want to talk to the two witnesses, then take it to the church. And if he refuses to speak to the church, then let him be unto you as a heathen. In other words, release that person and let them go. The thing about it is, if you feel in your heart that you have released somebody because you have, and they don't want to be released, it is no longer your burden. It is no longer your burden to bear. And God, our Heavenly Father, would not hold us responsible for a relationship with somebody who is totally defiant, who does not want to have a conversation with you. It is impossible. Then that's it. That's time to move on. it is time to move on. And I say to us, um, there are some situations in life that are not easy. I'm not trivializing anyone's responsibility to forgive. I am not making it seem as if it is something so easy to be done that at the click of the finger it can happen. There are different circumstances. I I heard of, people who have been ill-treated by parents, and some of them by step-parents. And it's been years of carrying this load, this burden. And it's sometimes so difficult. But still the responsibility is forgive. We have to release it. We can't bear it. We cannot. Young lady who has been ill-treated by a man who has left her with maybe 2 or 3 children. Are you telling me that I have to forgive that person? Yes. I'm not saying it's simple, it's difficult. But the release is so important. You come out better in the end because you're not carrying an emotional weight that will bear down on you and can bear down on your health and well-being. So I urge you to let us have this conversation. Drop me a comment and let me know how you feel. This is a thought-provoking subject. So drop me a comment and let me know. Okay? I will try as best as possible to maybe just address it in one of the upcoming videos. But until then, this is King Nero saying that I love you very much. And as a citizen of the earth, I encourage you to take the high road, be the better person, and dig deep inside of you and find that inner strength and fortitude to be able to say, I release you, I forgive you, I'm going to let you go. And you're going to see that the hurt and the pain, day by day, will dissipate. And when you see the person again, that person who, when you see them, you would get angry and you would want to tell them from A to Z, that same person one day when you see them and you will say, let me give you a hug. I forgive you. I release you. I don't hold this grudge against you. I ask you to let us walk in this kind of freedom. Freedom to forgive, to release somebody so that we can be released. I'll be coming back again with this topic. I'm hoping to have a few people that I can sit down and have a conversation with regarding this matter. Until now, I love you, God bless you and your family, and you take care, okay? Peace out.